Hello students, how are you? In the previous video, we have studied about the solubility of solids and liquids. Now in this video, we will take up with the next topic, that is the solubility of gases in liquids. So our today's topic is solubility of gases in liquids, a very important topic. So watch the video carefully till the end. Now gases are frequently soluble in liquids. We have many examples around us where the gases are soluble in liquids, like we have aerated drinks, carbonated drinks also we called as, where we see CO2 is dissolved in the drink. Cold drinks. Now we have formaldehyde. Formaldehyde dissolved in water called as formalin, a solution which is used for the preservation of biological specimens. We have liquor ammonia. Liquor ammonia, solution of NH3 ammonia in water. Similarly, dissolved oxygen. Every natural sample of water contains dissolved oxygen. This dissolved oxygen is necessary for sustaining the aquatic life. So these are many examples we have where there is a gases soluble in liquids. Now the solubility of gas in liquids depends upon following factors. Factors affecting solubility of gas in liquids. Now first factor is the nature of gas and nature of solvent in which the gas is to be dissolved. Second factor is temperature of the solution. Third factor is pressure. We will discuss each of these factors one by one. So let's take with the nature of gas and the solvent. So first factor is nature of gas and solvent. Now the solubility of different gases in the same solvent varies considerably. For example, we have gases like N2, H2, O2, which are soluble in water to very less extent, soluble in water to less extent. And we have the gases like HCl gas, we have ammonia gas, which are highly soluble in water. So what are the factors? What are the factors in the nature of the gas which makes them soluble in a solvent? So first is the gases which reacts with solvent or water. If solvent is water, they are highly soluble. For example, we have CO2. When dissolved in water, it forms carbonic acid H2CO3. Similarly, ammonia, when dissolved in water, it forms ammonium hydroxide SO3. plus H2O. It forms H2SO4. So these are the gases which when dissolved in water they chemically combine with water. So they are highly soluble. Other factors, the gases which can be liquefied easily. The gases which are liquefied easily are more soluble than gases which cannot be liquefied easily. And the third factor, the gases which have high value of van der Waals constant A. The gases which have high value of van der Waals constant A with high critical temperature Tc are more soluble. So these are the few factors in the nature of gas which makes it easily soluble in solvent. Next factor we will take up is the temperature. Next is the effect of temperature on the solubility of gas in a liquid. Now simply solubility of gas decreases with increase in temperature. So if you increase the temperature, solubility of the gas will decrease, because when you increase the temperature, the dissolved gases, their kinetic energy becomes increases and they tend to escape from the liquid and tend to escape the surface of the liquid and becomes they go in the gaseous phase. That's why the solubility decreases with the increase in temperature. Moreover, the solubility of this gas plus solvent forms solution. This process is exothermic. In most of the cases, this process is exothermic and takes place with the evolution of heat. So when you increase the temperature, you supply heat, and when heat is supplied according to the Le Chatelier's principle, this reaction goes in the backward direction and the gas escapes from the solution and becomes separate from the solution. So solubility decreases with the increase in temperature. There are some exceptions, like in case of hydrogen, in non-aqueous solvents like acetone, ethanol. In these cases, the solubility increases with increase in temperature. Why? Because in this case the process of dissolution of gas in the solvent is a endothermic process. That's why the solubility of hydrogen in solvent, non-aqueous solvent like acetone and ethanol, increases with increase in temperature. Otherwise, in most of the cases, the solubility decreases with increase in temperature. So this is the second factor. Next factor we will take up is the pressure. So Third is effect of pressure on the solubility of gas in a liquid. Now the pressure is the most important factor that influences the solubility of gas in a liquid. To understand this, consider a gas in dynamic equilibrium with the solution. Now I will take up with the example with the help of the diagram. Now look, now here the lower part represents the solution and the upper part it represents the gaseous system. Now here there are certain, these green are the particles of gases which are in the vapor phase. Now some particles they penetrate into the solution and goes into the liquid phase. Now these particles, gaseous particles, are dissolved in the solvent and these are in the vapor phase above this, and they are in the equilibrium with each other. Equilibrium means the number of particles of gas, molecules of gas which are going into the solution is equal to the number of particles which are coming from the solution into the gaseous phase at the given time. So there is a dynamic equilibrium between the particle going into the solution and the number of particles which are coming out of the solution. So dynamic equilibrium established. Now if we increase the pressure by applying weight on this side, this is the condition. Second, now look here, the piston moves in inwards and here the volume of the vapor phase becomes less and number of particles is the same. So here the number of particles per unit volume is increasing. Now when the particles come closer, the number of particles which goes into the vapor phase is increasing. Now again a dynamic equilibrium is established, but the number of particles in the liquid phase which are dissolved is more. So what we can conclude simply that if we increase the pressure, the solubility of the gas in a solvent increases. So simple. Now with increase in pressure of the gas above the solution, the solubility of the gas increases. Now this relation is systematically studied by a scientist, William Henry. The scientist, he gives the quantitative relationship between the solubility of a gas in a solvent and the pressure, which is known as Henry's law. Henry's law, the mass of the gas dissolved per unit volume of the solvent at a constant temperature is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas in equilibrium with the solution. I am reading out again. The mass of the gas dissolved per unit volume of the solvent at a constant temperature is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas in equilibrium with the solution. Now, mathematically, simply we can write M is proportional to P. M is the mass of the gas and P is the pressure of the gas in equilibrium with the solution. M is mass of gas dissolved per unit of volume of the solvent, or you can write M is equal to Kp, where K is the proportionality constant. Now John Dalton, a contemporary scientist of the William Henry's time, during this the same period, he concludes independently that the solubility of the gas in a liquid solution depends upon its partial pressure. Now we use mole fraction of the gas as a measure of its solubility. Now if the mole fraction is the measure of its solubility, now we can define as the mole fraction of the gas of a solution is proportional to its partial pressure. Mole fraction is the measure of the solubility of the gas. Mole fraction of the gas is in the solution is proportional to the partial pressure of the gas over the solution. Mathematically, X is proportional to P, where X is the mole fraction and P is the partial pressure. X is proportional to P, X is equal to K dash P, where K dash is the proportionality constant, and rearranging it, P is equal to 1 upon K dash X, or P is equal to 1 upon K dash is another constant, KH X, where KH is a constant called as Henry's constant. The unit of Henry's constant is the unit of pressure. Now next is the limitations of Henry's law. Limitations of Henry's law. Now Henry's law, the first limitation is that it is applicable only when the pressure is low. So applicable only when pressure is low. At high pressure it deviates significantly. Now second, the temperature should not be too low. And remains constant as the solubility of gas changes with temperature. So temperature should remain constant and it should not be too low. Now the next is the gas should not react chemically, associates or dissociates in solution. So if a gas reacts with the solvent or it associates or dissociates in the solution, the Henry's law is not applicable. Next is applications of Henry's law. Now few important applications of Henry's law in our day-to-day life. First is scuba diving. Scuba diving means deep sea diving. Now deep sea divers depends upon the compressed air for breathing at high pressure underwater. So they take up a oxygen cylinder, and when they go deep into the water, they breathe under very high pressure. Now the compressed air contains nitrogen with oxygen. Now this nitrogen, it is not very soluble in blood at normal pressure, but at high pressure under deep sea, nitrogen becomes soluble in blood. Now then what it becomes? Now when nitrogen dissolved in blood at the greater depths, when the driver breathes in compressed air, more and more nitrogen get dissolved in the blood because of high pressure. Now when the divers comes toward the surface of the water, if he comes to the surface of the water, then what happens? The pressure becomes less, and the excess of nitrogen which is dissolved under high pressure, now it comes out of the blood in the forms of bubbles. Now these bubbles, they are coming out of the bloodstream and they restrict the blood flow, affecting the transmission of nerve impulses. These bubbles even burst the capillaries and starve the tissues of the oxygen. Now this condition is called as bends. Bends, it is a very painful condition, and sometimes this pain becomes fatal in nature. Now to avoid this, now the professional divers, they use the air which is diluted with helium. Now diluted with helium. The helium particles, helium molecules does not dissolve in blood vessels even at very high pressure, and also their size is very small. They can pass through the cell membranes without damaging them. Second application of Henry's law is at high altitudes. At high altitudes, the mountaineers which goes through trekking at high altitudes, at the high altitude the partial pressure of oxygen is very less than the ground level. As the result of low oxygen concentration, low O2 concentration in blood. Now when the amount of oxygen in the blood becomes less, these blood reaches to the organs, and the organs becomes devoid of oxygen, and this our brain also becomes devoid of oxygen. Now what happens then? Then the condition of the mountaineer or the patient becomes very weak. They are not able to think clearly, and this condition is called as anoxia. In this condition of anoxia, the proper oxygen supply to the tissues is restricted, and the patient becomes very weak and does not think properly. And the very important application of Henry's law is in the production of carbonated beverages. Now cold drinks you have drank. Now in the carbonated beverages, they are packed under high pressure. They are always sealed under very high pressure so that the solubility of CO2 in the solvent can be increased. Now when we open the seal of the bottle, the high pressure becomes less and the excess of CO2 which is dissolved under high pressure they tend to escape in the forms of bubbles. Effervescence comes out when we open the bottle of the cold drink. So this is the one of the application of Henry's law. So this is all about this video. In the next video we will take up with the topic of vapor pressure. Okay, thank you very much.